So there's a couple things that I've watched that I want to discuss.
Let's talk. What are they?
Okay. I don't know if you've seen... Well, one of these I know you saw. I did watch the Martha Stewart documentary.
I can't wait to get
because I did steal Mom and Dad's Netflix. Whoops.
Love
and watched that. Or wait, was that on Netflix? I think it was on Netflix.
Netflix, yep.
That was interesting. And I didn't know that's how her and Snoop Dogg became friends, because of the Justin Bieber roast on Comedy Central.
So random.
And she made jokes about making a shank. It reminded me of that one episode from Hacks where the daughter was like at a roast and they were like, she's gonna do so bad, and then she was like the funniest person. I was like, that's Martha.
Because she roasted her mom.
Yeah. So that was crazy. And Martha, I love her, but I'm scared. It's like, Martha's the type of woman you want on your side. And if you know, you know.
But didn't you somewhat respect her a little bit?
I respected the hell out of her, man.
I mean,
holy shit.
This idea of, okay, more broadly, perfectionism is what people hated about her. Like, why do I have to put up 17 Christmas trees for Christmas? Like, I'm already tired.
Yeah.
And, but then she also was like, the story she told where she's like, yeah, Teacup wasn't selling. And she was like, I can't say anything critical now, and I can't even run a company because of the legal stuff. But she's like, I just looked at them and said, well, can I give my opinion? Like, am I allowed, or am I gonna offend all of you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, your fucking pinky doesn't fit through the
right,
teacup.
Can't fit
and
it
so
in
you're
there.
kind of like, there is that line of quality.
Yeah.
That's this like kind of falling scale if people are like, God, that's just too much. And so, I don't know, it was like fascinating. And the fact that she like taught all these women in prison.
Oh, I do love that.
How to do basically like living, as she said.
Well, and then she's like,
I want to watch that fucking.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then she's wearing like the shawl. She's like, a woman made this for me in jail. And then she had a dog version of it made for her dog so they could have matching jail shawls. I can't. It's amazing. So that was good.
Okay. You have a lot more to cover. So
Two more. I watched Saturday Night. Did you watch that? You did watch that?
I did watch that, which is
also on Netflix.
Which was also pretty fascinating.
It was very interesting. It was like, it didn't, how do I put this? It obviously was a movie, but it didn't like entirely feel like a movie. It felt like it was a documentary, but it's not a documentary because it was all actors. So I don't know. The guy who played Chevy Chase,
so good.
He was on a show called Gotham, and he was the Riddler, who's like a different personality. And I was like, holy fuck, that's the same guy. The range is out of control.
Love that.
I mean, I liked it, though. I was like, oh, is this... I would want to know if, like, a lot of that stuff is true, though. Because that's the thing. I'm like, it's not technically a documentary. And a lot of these people are still alive, so there could be some influence.
I do think the intent was to say this is true.
Yeah.
The idea that they really were winging it to the final hour.
Oh my God, the stress.
So cool.
Ugh.
And you gotta figure that Lorne Michaels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of the shenanigans that like he had to pull to get them together, that to me was like the real story, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, he's been around so long, and it's not like he's got like a Harvey Weinstein story following him.
No,
so,
I don't think
so.
so.
This guy wanted to like make this crazy sketch comedy nobody got, and like has basically been this pipeline to some of the like the top comedians in the world. It all just started with like chaos. So I was fascinated by the impact of these like very meek roles of people that just somehow skirted by. Like, wow.
The guy also played the young Billy Crystal. I was like, this is also too fucking real. I can't, like, the cast, whoever the casting director was, kudos to you, because that was crazy. And then the final third thing that I watched that I would definitely recommend, and this I think has been out for a while, but I haven't watched it till now, is it's a documentary on John Williams. It's on Disney Plus.
No way.
It is so fucking great. Actually, I think it came out last year, 2024, I want to say.
Figure out your fucking login.
Bridget.
I know, it's like been years.
Texted it.
I know, I just can't, it doesn't work. I can't
well,
figure it out.
maybe it's on Hulu too, because now they're like the same thing. all right, we'll circle back, but like, yeah, it was just a documentary about like his life, and that was super interesting. And he like didn't necessarily want to be a composer, but it just kind of happened. And then he was like,
Wow.
yeah, and then I was like really great at it, and everyone's like, yeah, you fucking were, dude.
That's
And
so cool.
it's just really, really interesting. And they talked a lot about how like the reason that he makes great music, obviously, but he makes a lot of like themes. So in a lot of movies, it's like characters will have theme music, and he's like, and that's a dying art. Like people don't do that anymore. So in like Star Wars, each character has their own theme music, which is true. And he's like, in Indiana Jones, there's theme music and a lot of stuff like that. And then he said because he uses live orchestra, that then like came into this whole world, which you and I have experienced, is how they have like live orchestras like performing to movies, or they'll do like the live movie music with like orchestras, and how that like wasn't really a thing until John Williams, and now it's like a thing. And I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Oh my God.
Did you get to see aspects of his life that indicated like how did he have such range? Like was there like really cool childhood stories or
yes,
stuff
I mean
him?
So he was a band kid. Y'all listening?
Okay.
Fun music education. His dad was a professional drummer.
Okay.
And was like involved with Hollywood and stuff, and his mom was a actress.
Okay.
And a dancer actress, I think.
Very creative people.
And then he learned to play the piano when he was really young, and he learned a bunch of other instruments. And then he was in the Air Force in the band, and they were doing some type of movie. It was like a documentary about the Air Force or something. And then they were like, oh man, we don't have like music. And then he was just like, I'll make music. Like, I'll make it. And they were like, that's cool. Let's do it. And then literally that like launched him to be like, oh yeah, I guess I can write music. Oh yeah, I can conduct. Like, let's do it. And then it was just like,
oh my God, that's
so crazy.
Cool. So that's someone who was meant to do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an inspiring open, Kate. Wow. And now we go to the porn that is Basic Instinct.
Whoops, daisy. Tonal change. Get ready.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, sisters who've seen it.
Hello.
Hello there, detective.
Oh.
Nikki.
Are you... Oh, I was like, which character are you? Got it. You're Sharon Stone. Hello. Welcome back. I don't want to do Michael Douglas's voice, so I'm gonna smoke a ciggy or two before.
I sound like I had cigarettes, but then somehow I don't.
He's a little guy, right? Like, what's the height we think? He's like Tom Cruise height. I'm so sorry to bring up a man's height, but not really.
What height is he? Is the best question.
Can we Google that? Yeah.
Google.
I do feel it's important. Yes, well, as Bridget does that, welcome back, listeners. I am going to introduce ourselves. We're not Sharon Stone. We're not Michael Douglas, but we will be talking about him. Okay.
Oh.
So I'm going to introduce ourselves.
Time.
Okay. All right. So, listeners, we are the Sisters Who've Seen It.
5'10".
The podcast.
Sorry,
what?
Sorry. He's 5'10". Sorry.
Okay. That's not that short, I guess.
Sorry.
I'm going to start again because it's kind of like it's got to be together or else my brain malfunctions.
Okay.
We are the Sisters Who've Seen It. The podcast where two sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And, oh God, quotes. I don't think I wrote any down. She calls him shooter a lot. Is that anything? Ice pick? I'm just saying words that are like... What's that game where it's like you say words and you have to guess a password? I'm doing the password version of what's the movie this week, Bridge?
1992, Basic Instinct.
Yeah. Basic. I don't know. This did not feel basic to me, Bridge. This felt complicated.
I cannot
This
believe
felt advanced.
that they allowed porns to go out to the
Lots.
world, because this was absolutely a softcore porn.
I mean, what is this rate? Is this rated R? I guess it is probably,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
But
should it
it's
be
It
higher?
should be like XXR.
I know, but it's like because we don't see a penis, we do see a vagina,
We see a
though.
vagina.
There are pubes, and
When
we're going to
you-
talk about the pubes.
When you
all right.
said, like, oh, that's the scene with Sharon Stone, I'm like, oh, please. It's 1992. They kept her underwear on. And then I was like, oh my
No.
God, that's literally her vulva.
It was all over the screen, Bridge. And wow. All right. So I do think it is my synopsis, because now that I'm editing, I think you did 2 in a row. So I owe you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, you did think that last time, and I was like, no way,
That's called
Jose.
gaslighting.
I'm
baby.
so sorry. This is me apologizing.
Okay.
It's not you, it's me and my memory.
This is me
So
apologizing. Okay, go for it.
all right, but this is gonna be a fucking hard synopsis because I don't know. So we're gonna keep it basic.
Yeah. This is a hard movie.
We're gonna keep it basic. Let's read the one sentence on IMDb. A violent police detective investigates a brutal murder that might involve a manipulative and seductive novelist. I mean, it does involve her, I think,
Yeah.
but okay. So we got Michael Douglas. His name is Nick, sometimes called Nicky, sometimes called Cowboy, sometimes called Shooter. Lot of nicknames for Nick. Nick is a cop. We don't know he's violent right away or maybe ever, but I guess he is. But basically the movie starts off, there's a murder. We do see butts right away. Big lady butt. Ties a guy to the bed as they're boning, takes an ice pick and stabs him. Now, listen, I get, we have agendas. But me personally, if I'm naked, I don't know if I want blood all over me and the parts on my butt. So anyway, that happens. But we don't see who the lady is, in quotation marks. So it's a mystery, I guess. And this is where Michael Douglas comes in. And he's like, I'm investigating. And he's like, well, who is this guy's, girlfriend? Oh, it's the writer who is Sharon Stone. Her character's name is Catherine. Catherine is a writer. She writes novels that are thrillers and they involve murders. And she wrote a book about a girlfriend who murders her musician boyfriend. The guy who got murdered was a musician, by tying him to a bed and stabbing him with an ice pick. I just feel like in court, I just feel like if we had a jury of our peers, it might not have gone so well for Catherine. But kind of like right away, the police are like, it can't be her. No way. They never arrest her. By the way, she kind of gets questioned, but it's stupid. She does flash her vagina to a room of men. And then Nick, Shooter, Cowboy, whoever, is like, I think it's her, so I'm going to keep following her. And he kind of gets a little stalkery.
Yeah.
Okay. She is Sharon Stone, so we all know what that looks like. And so she's kind of flirting with him, but also like a lot of psychological games, a lot of I don't know, being twisty-turny. Nick seeing a counselor therapist through the police force. It's a lady that he used to bone, but still does bone sometimes. What?
Katie, I need to
ethics?
ask about the therapist ethics there.
There's so many bad ethics. And basically all these people that he knows start to die, and it still continues to remain mysterious. And the whole point of the movie is that you're supposed to not really know if Sharon Stone is the killer or not. Is she the killer? Is it someone else? Is it actually her? Who's to say? And he does bone her. There is lots of boning. So much boning. It is porn. It's porn with plot. It's fan fiction, if you will.
Rated R.
Well, it fucking did. And then in the end, basically everyone around them died almost, and they end with boning. And neither of them die. Maybe.
Yeah.
And we never figure out who the killer is, but we think we do, but we might not have.
I think we do.
Okay.
Right?
This is the type of movie that I wish I had a big whiteboard behind me that we could, like, do notes and do, like, the, you know, like, very manic writing. Because this is, like, hard. There's a lot. There's a lot happening.
I briefly skimmed the Robert Ebert review of this.
Oh, Robert.
I think this is a great way to describe it. This movie is like a crossword puzzle where it really piques your interest as you're doing it and you're learning whatever. But then once you figure it all out or it's done, you just are like, let me just throw out this worthless piece of crap. I did it. And like that's kind of where it landed.
Yeah.
Like, every single element of this movie was could have been this or could have been that or could have been this or could have been that. And you get to the end, and so you don't believe anything when it's really staring you in the face the whole time that clearly Sharon Stone is the killer.
Definitely.
Like, clearly. And so... But why was the ice pick underneath the bed at the end?
That I don't know.
I thought that was the indication, like, hey, it was really her. But she just decided, like, man, this Nick guy seems to be, like, coming along. She's like, I don't have to publish that book. Maybe I'll publish another book and kill someone else.
Oh, that's another thing I didn't mention is all throughout the movie, she's telling Nick she's going to be writing a novel and he's the inspiration. And it's about a crazy cop that gets involved with the wrong woman and then he gets murdered by her at the end. And I just,
she's
you know,
honest.
She is, most times, I guess,
minus
but
I didn't kill this person.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, I'm about to recreate the meme. I think it's from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, where it's, I can't think of her name, where she's, like, acting as Dionne Warwick, and she's like, to what end? To what end? That's the question I have. To what end did we have to kill all these people? To what end? You could have killed no people.
Okay.
I want to, like, what?
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
All right, well, we start off with boning, and I'm sorry, but, like, we see lots of Sharon Stone butt. This is the same butt. They didn't even try to change up the body type to be like, oh, it could be someone different. Like, no, it's Sharon Stone.
It was like a woman with messy blonde hair that was covering her face while she was literally on top of a man.
Yeah.
Riding him. Ties him up, and then, like, they're getting to climax, and you're like, this is an absurd movie, and then...
Minute 2.
And, okay, so, wait, actually, listeners, I need to give you guys some subcontext. It's been a rough week, and so, in a very weird way, I watched this movie twice. Okay?
This is the movie Bridget decided, of all the movies we watch, I gotta watch this one
2 hours
twice.
8 minutes, so clearly either I'm a hornball or...
Wow!
But... the first time I watched it, I had my own reactions, and then I watched it with James, who was my husband, and so it was interesting hearing his reactions, and he reacted the exact same way I did with this first scene, that when she takes out the ice pick and starts stabbing him, I was like, ha! like, give me a warm-up, like,
yeah.
You were just, like, lulling me to sleep, where I was like, Jesus, this movie is racy, and then you just start murdering someone, like, very grotesque.
And on her, like, blood's on her, because there's lots of boobs.
Okay, also...
blood on the boobs.
We were like, wait, but, like, DNA, like he's like, the DNA...
The DNA.
Like, look at all his semen DNA. I'm like, well, what, where... I mean, isn't
this
stuff all there, too? I mean...
this movie could not happen...
I don't know.
Without, if there was DNA. Why is there not DNA? There was DNA in 1992. There were fingerprints. The fingerprints pissed me off because they're like, here's the exact ice pick that was used to murder, and only one person held it with their fingers, but there's no fingerprints. It's crazy. And I was like, that's not real life,
she also
guys.
Never wears gloves. She's pretty much like, it's me. I'm the murderer. Hi. It's me.
Hey.
I'm the one who murdered him. Okay. Although, this movie gets bonus points for, like, fun action, because then you're like, shit, okay, now we're basically Silence of the Lambs of, like, who did it, who's killing it, let's all go to the murder scene and just like casually be like, hey man, why don't you close the windows? Or like, let's turn on the stereo. Or like,
the dead guy.
Let's fucking hang out while the
dead guy's
guy
still tied up,
Yo.
still bloody, still got his peen like out. I don't
Nobody's
understand.
Gonna cover him?
Is this police protocol? Is this the taxpayer
detectives
dollars?
Listen to this podcast because, like, I get as a detective, like, you need to see. I mean, we just watched Boondock Saints. I get.
Wow.
William Dafoe taught us that you gotta like see everything. I get it, but I just feel like there was like a lot of them.
Yeah.
Then they made like jokes about him and how this was kind of weird. The one guy who's somewhat a famous actor, Chelsea Ross.
Was it the guy who I always think is Billy Bob Thornton, but it's not Billy Bob Thornton? Yes.
Okay. He was like, this guy was very important to the mayor, and then they're like, oh,
he was in Richie Rich.
Oh,
sorry.
He was. And they were like, what a respectable man. But then, like, we never brought up that subplot again. So
yeah, guys.
Okay. Okay, but Michael Douglas right away, you could just tell everyone's like, who's this wise guy? He's like
this man who gives soft short man energy, but he's actually 5'10". You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Know what I'm saying?
Real talk. This Michael Douglas, 1992. Are we attracted to him or not? I was having a hard time.
Oh, this fucking movie.
I wasn't. I never think of him as attractive.
Were you just tricked, though, because it was porn? You know how that
maybe
happens sometimes?
This is the scene I'll tell you. When he gets to the club, and he's wearing that low-cut V.
The fucking V-neck. Bridge! Not the V-neck!
I don't know what came over me. Was
not
it
the 90s
hair?
V-neck. It was a purple V-neck.
Was it that he's, like, so... I don't know. He was so... But, like, he was kind of deranged and, like rapey and weird.
Yeah.
So that wasn't attractive.
No.
But I kind of was like, well, he's got great hair.
He does have good hair.
It's just the, like, kind of eyes, nose, I'm unsure about. But he's got passion, and that's hot.
He's definitely,
I'm back and forth. I'm going to say no, but there were certain scenes. I was like, well, I get it a little.
Now, this just goes back to the theory that this is porn with plot, because that's how a lot of people feel, where they're kind of like, I'd hook up with that person in theory based on this page of a book I read, but then in real life, you're like, I'm going to pepper spray them. Get out of my face, you know?
Definitely.
But, you know, when we meet him, he is being a good cop. He's like, I got theories. I got questions. I don't smoke. I don't drink.
3 months.
I don't do drugs. I'm on the up and up. I see a therapist.
I was like, this man has his shit together.
Yeah. And so he's like, we got to go find that girlfriend. And all the other cops are like, nah, let's not. I was like, police protocol. Hello again. Are we working? Let me know. But fine. He goes and this is a character who I thought was not going to come back in the movie. And then there she was. Her name is Roxy. He literally is like, hi, we're here to meet with Catherine, to a maid. The maid's like, let me go get her. Come on in. And then she doesn't get her. And she goes and brings Roxy. And maid, what do you mean? Like, what? And then Roxy's like, hi, I'm actually not her. I'm her, like, friend. And she's at her beach house. But yeah, I'm hanging out here. Don't ask questions. And they don't ask any questions. And everybody's just so sketchy because she's like, that guy's dead, isn't he? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, And then when they go meet Sharon Stone, she's like, he's dead, isn't he? I was like, guys, like, what?
So could we call this movie Gaslighter? Because I'm like,
I mean, yeah.
Like, I just was like, they just said the truth, like, the whole time.
That's why I'm like, if we got in front of a jury, we get some Billy Flynn lawyer action up in here. I just don't think.
Tappy.
He does a little tap dance. I just don't think Sharon Stone's getting away with it. There's a lot of evidence where she kind of admits her guilt, it feels like. But then she'll like flash her vagina and be like, just kidding. And they're like, duh. No. Can't be you. Duh.
So at this time frame, she was supposed to be like 30 in the movie, but she was like 32 in real life. And literally you're like, she's stunning.
Oh yeah.
You know, this is the thing that always pisses me off. And when we went on that like dude podcast where they got so mad about Veronica Vaughn and Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah,
like,
they
Michael
did.
Douglas and Sharon Stone are not on the same fucking level.
No, they're not.
At all. Okay.
No. She wasn't even on that musician guy. They were like, he's in his 60s. I was like, ew, why is he a loser? Good riddance. Take the ice pick and go, sir. All right? I'm fucking over it.
And so when they go to her house and they realize she's loaded, like her
lots of
parents
moolah.
died in a boating accident, and she
okay,
has $113 million.
Everyone around her dies, even her dog's dead. That could be the other movie title.
Oh my
God!
Well, and so the movie is very, very subtle. But can I tell you who's not subtle in the movie? Is our main man Gus, who is fucking Michael Douglas's best friend.
Oh,
when you
Gus.
watch this movie again, if you ever have to, if you're in the mood to watch some porn,
well,
okay, Gus says the stupidest fucking lines. It is so absurd. Like he's like the guy in the movie theater yelling at the movie, but he's in the movie. Okay.
Yeah, and he's wearing a cowboy hat while he does it. And you're like, sir.
And he just cracked me up the whole time. And the second time I watched it too, in tandem with him, the music was kind of a lot.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of like, da-da-da, and you're like,
well, and it got like loud out of nowhere, and it was like,
yeah.
But it wasn't scary, because you're like, this is just supposed to be dramatic, but also this is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
It was a lot. And she's like, are you arresting me? And I was like, they should. And Michael Douglas is like, no. And I was like, this is fucking dumb. But they're like, all right, come on in. Get some questioning. And before this, he goes and meets with his cop counselor. I wrote, we've got cop counseling. I don't know if this is real life. He has to meet with a counselor because we later find out that he accidentally, and it was an accident, killed a tourist when he was like going after a bad guy. And everyone's like, you're dangerous and a threat. And I was like, he is. But it didn't sound like it was on purpose. But was it supposed to be it was on purpose?
But what, didn't he do it before?
Oh, it happened more than once?
Yeah. Let me Google that. I think that was the thing. She's like,
I blacked out.
She's like 4 people in 6 years shooter or something.
Oh, I definitely blacked out. Okay, never mind. Well, and then that's the whole reason he's like, see, I'm going straight. I'm not smoking. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing drugs. Like, everything's great. He's like, we broke up. And she's like, oh, I miss you. I was like, ew, why? And also, like, why are you the therapist for him? Because everybody knows they used to hook up. There's a lot of, like, jokes people make where they're like, she's obsessed with you, man. And I was like, what?
Katie, it was like, to your point, there was a big whiteboard. And
big like, whiteboard.
Here's our plot. Sharon Stone is the murderer.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious, but they like, the first draft of the movie was like, but we can't really nail her down, okay? Then the second draft was like, what if no one believes reality? And so everything that Sharon Stone says, nobody believes.
What if
and
everyone's
then what
dumb?
If Michael Douglas starts losing his fucking mind the whole movie? And then what if every character we introduce could also be the murderer? And then what if we put all that together? I was like, I'm so tired, but also engaged, but also you couldn't make an ending that would be like a big, exciting pow to the end of it. Like, you just needed it to end. Because you're like, what more can they do? Is he gonna die or not? And is there an ice pick involved? It
would have been a big twist if Michael Douglas had been the killer with the blonde wig and an ice pick. But they weren't brave enough. Okay,
so,
I'll
Katie,
say it.
What is the therapist protocol for sleeping with your... So he shoots people, and then the final review is like, we need to make sure that this guy is not a loose cannon.
No more shoots.
Like, no problem. I'm your therapist, and I'll take care of him. But then she has sex with him, and then she also like does a lot of lying, Katie. So what is the ethics there? Should she be?
It's pretty bad.
Do they call it disbarred? What do they call it in therapy world?
Well, you're not. I mean, you lose your license probably for all those ethics.
But she would lose her license. She would.
Yeah, she'd like. Well, and it's like, again, like all the cops are like, we know you guys used to bone, and I was like, why? Why does everybody know that?
I would die stupid. If I worked at a place with literally she was the only female, okay, and everyone knew who I was sleeping with. I would die. I would die inside.
It's just.
But this was though 1992, where you went to work and then everyone went to the bar afterwards.
Yeah.
And so then everyone got drunk. So you kind of always see who someone went home with. So it's like, I guess the next day too, they're like, well, we can't hide it because you always see who I go home with. Which, from our big episode, you also know that because everyone also drinks after
everyone
work,
could see you.
and
yeah.
everyone sees who you leave with, and it's a lot.
They literally do a scene where they're at a bar and then him and her leave together, and no one's like, "Uh-oh, ethics!" Like no one cares.
Crazy.
But Bridge, you know what the problem is when your police force is full of men. It also means it's full of dicks. And apparently, when you're full of dicks, wait.
Where are you going?
When you're full of dicks, you can easily be thwarted by some pubes. So we gotta talk about the pubes.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry.
Did she have pubes?
Bridget, you saw it twice. I saw it once and I saw the pubes.
She had pubes?
I
thought there were none.
They were thin, but they were there. Okay. And I just want to say, and maybe ask, because I was under the assumption pubes are out. Are pubes in? Where do we stand with pubes?
Well, I'm married.
Okay, well,
have a little baby.
Maybe this is a question for the male listeners because
so you can ask. Okay, can I tell you what I really think? If I was out on the prowl, no husband, whatever, I'm not doing shit for you. I am not. I believe Samantha Jones quoted it great as, you just let it go, girl. Like, everybody wants babies, and I think it's weird, and just let it grow. It's natural. Who cares?
I guess I was just kind of like...
You don't need to have a forest. Trim accordingly.
I mean, it is a famous... I shouldn't say famous. It's an iconic, I guess, scene. It's a memorable scene for those who have seen this movie. I think this is the scene most people reference when they think of this movie. Is she's being interrogated. She's wearing like a white dress, which, by the way, there are multiple scenes where Michael Douglas is being a stalker.
He's so creepy.
And a creeper, and he's watching her be naked. And then, again, you're kind of like, is she like creepy, letting him watch her? Like she knows, but I don't know if she always knew. So that's weird. No undies. She's sitting cross-legged, and there is this part where she switches her crossed legs, and to do so, she kind of flashes her legs open, but you don't see lips. You see above the lips. I didn't see lips.
Yeah. Okay.
You see like above you see like the mound, if we're getting into biology, or anatomy.
The vulva, right?
No, it's not the vulva. That's the lips.
The
you
vulva
saw above
is the lips?
Yeah, that whole area. You see above it. You don't see. That's why I was like, pubes. The pubes have been spotted.
Oh.
And just all the men are like, oh, boing. And I was like, that's all it takes? A flash of a pube? That's all? Guys, that's kind of sad. I don't know. I feel like you could have a little higher of a standard. No, I guess I don't know why I'm surprised.
So would we call it the labia was shown?
No,
so
it wasn't.
What's the skin? What's this? It's not a fupa? Like, what are we calling that?
It's literally the mound. What does this say?
Is that the technical term?
Mons Pubis.
A Mons Pubis.
It's above the lips.
Mons Pubis.
Do you see it?
I do see it. I'm looking at a diagram.
The Mons Pubis is with the...
was shown. Okay,
yeah,
guys?
You don't see nothing else.
I see. But you see the indent. Like a Georgia O'Keeffe painting, but not fully open,
I didn't see that.
Okay.
Should you Google that too?
My computer has a bunch of spam now.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna get a virus. It's fucking movie, I swear to God. Well, listen, pubes or no pubes, Michael Douglas is over this vagina bullshit, even though he was looking at her vagina earlier, but he's gonna be mad about it now. And he's like, she fucking did it. She's a sociopath. And they're like, let's make her take a lie detector test. And then they're like, she passed. And I'm like, this is the worst police force ever.
Oh, well, that's for sure. What is the deal with lie detector tests?
They're not admissible in court. Like, I don't even think they're used much anymore because they're like, it's like statistically they're not. It's just based on your blood pressure.
I was just going to say, if you're like calm.
Yeah.
You can say anything. But
which
if you
they
get
argue...
anxious, it picks up your anxiety, right?
Well, and that's what the movie was saying. The movie's like, you know, all these like psychopaths. Because at one point they get like more psychologists and they're like, this is a crazy person, a killer, okay? They have no feeling. And I was like, yeah, duh, we get it. There was a fucking ice pick, please. Like, tell me something we don't know, guys.
So, noted, you and I don't need to take a lie detector test.
Mm-mm.
But the police officer's like, well, she's not lying. So, moving on.
Off she goes, never arrested.
I gotta give Michael Douglas credit because he's like, are you guys fucking idiots?
Yeah.
Clearly, something's
They are.
up.
They are.
And he goes, and then she's up my asshole being like, Nick, isn't that right, Nick? Nick, you want a cigarette? Nick. And then they're like, what's with all that Nick stuff? And he's like, I don't fucking know, but am I gonna die?
Yeah.
Like, aren't we the people to take her off the streets? And then they're like, Nick, take a load off. Let's go to the bar.
Let's go drink it, even though you don't drink. Yeah, this does start the part of the movie where she is definitely, like, interested in him, we'll say. Perhaps even hitting on him. And he's at first like, no way, I hate it. But, like, I think he liked it.
He loved it.
I think he liked that attention, personally.
Okay, let's get real. They're in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Me and James also talked about this. The quote-unquote shitty detective salary, he still has a fairly decent place.
Mm-hmm.
She clearly has, like, a mansion.
Yeah.
If I'm Michael Douglas, I'm like, listen, I'm on my way out of the force.
She might be ice picking me to death, but you know?
She might be ice picking me to death.
You know?
This is a nice place to hang out for a bit if I get fired. Like, I could do it. She's hot. We could have fun.
Well, and she does...
know.
She flat out tells him, because she kind of leaves, like, newspaper clippings about him. There's, like, 80 news articles about him. So I guess he did kill more than one person. That makes a lot more sense now that you say that.
Yes,
and at first he's like, what's this? And she's like, bitch, you're writing a book. You're my inspiration. Like, let's do it. And he's like, that's crazy. But then, like, again, I feel like he's a little flattered. And he's like, oh, me?
Well,
you're writing it about me?
Then she, like, really digs the knife because his wife committed... That
was rough.
Wait, what do we say now?
Died by suicide. I say died by suicide.
Because I was like, what? Like, because, can we give this man some fucking slack? Like, what? Wait, so he, by accident, I don't know, shot a bunch of people in the line of fire. Yeah. And then his wife dies?
Yeah.
What? Are we glossing over, like, his trauma?
We definitely do.
Okay.
And I feel like this is the part of the movie where he starts to, like, drink again. And she's like, come on, like, have some alcohol and blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, he's always just like, what are you doing here? And she says something cryptic and, like clearly, you know, proving she's guilty. And then she's like, anyway, see ya. And then he's like, damn, I want a boner. And I'm like, guys... This is just, we got a whole nother hour of this stuff happening. It's crazy.
And the whole time, at least the way I was feeling watching it the first time was like, ooh, is she gonna kill him? Ooh, is she gonna kill him now? Ooh, is she gonna kill him?
Yeah.
Oh, she's gonna kill you. Like, I just was like, here it comes. So that was like good build up, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I will say this. I wasn't always able to predict what was happening. And I guess that could be a good thing or bad thing. But it didn't, like, I don't know, nothing came out of left field because they did have some explanation for most things. Because people start to die. And the first guy that dies is this guy who heckled him at the bar and called him, like, a murderer. And then he was also heckling the counselor. And then they were both like, screw you, we're leaving. And then they left, and that's where they had, like, kind of not okay, but I guess it was consensual, but I'm not sure if it was consensual sex. Yeah.
He basically raped her. And I even said that to James. I was like, yo, isn't this, like, rapey? And he's like, Bridget, I think this is rape. Like,
it is.
No. I'm like,
it's by definition, yeah.
Ew. But it's very confusing because she's clearly mad at the end of it, but then she, like, does all this nice stuff for him. So I'm like, what? I don't... Yeah. It's just... She was the weakest character. I really was like, come on, this like super smart therapist is gonna be such a dingbat.
But then I wondered, did they do a lot of choices like that for her because they were really trying to convince the audience? Because big twist at the end, listeners, spoiling it now, is that she dies at the end, and there's a blonde wig and an ice pick at her death, and they're like, she was the killer all along. And there's a whole backstory that Sharon Stone kind of feeds him incrementally, where she's like, we went to college together, and we hooked up, her and I, because I'm bisexual. Isn't that sexy? Did you see my pubes the other day? Don't forget them. Anyway, we made out and had sex, and then like it was a one-time thing, but she was obsessed with me, and she stalked me, and she tried to be me. And you're like, that's how does that work? And then it kind of like stuff comes out that kind of makes it seem like could have been true. So I did wonder if the movie was like, let's make her obsessed with a guy who is bad, because that'll prove that she's obsessed, and she gets obsessed with people, and, you know, go team. And I was like, I still don't know why, I don't know why all these people had to get involved. Like, when do we think Sharon Stone's character decided that Nick was going to be her new book? Was it...
Okay,
why did we murder our musician boyfriend?
I thought about this.
Why did everybody die?
I'm totally with you. Like,
the why is the question I don't have an answer to.
But I think that's the thing, is like, I don't think the movie in its big giant whiteboard could have even addressed the moral motivation, because I think she just was so like,
but that's why it kind of, in a way, I don't dare I say did a good job, but it was a little convincing why it could have been the therapist, because you did get motivation from the therapist, where she would pretending to be her because she was jealous and wanted to be with her, so she kills her boyfriend, and then that kicks off. And then when she kills the one guy because he had a file on her from college, and then she kills Gus and she tries to kill Nick, like, it made sense. But for Sharon Stone, you're like, but there is no motive except you wrote a book. I guess you're just crazy, and that's like not as fun.
It was like she wanted to kind of get caught the whole time. That's the game. And then Michael Douglas kind of wanted to just die because he like hated his life.
I think he wanted to bone before he died.
That's true.
Know what I'm saying?
He wanted to die trying.
He wanted to wear a purple V-neck to the club because she told him she likes to go clubbing.
Google the Michael Douglas club scene, Basic Instinct, and you tell me, am I crazy?
Wait,
I
but
want to know. The people want to know.
The dancing, though, during that, because her friend Roxy, apparently another subplot is Roxy has a crush on her. We're like, we get it! You're hot! We understand.
Hold on, Katie. I'm just going to share my screen. You
Bridget,
don't think so?
no.
I mean,
Bridget!
Like
it's not purple at all. It's like literally green. I don't know why I thought it was purple. I thought it was purple.
Kind of hot, no?
Okay, but you know what's not hot is when Roxy's doing side-to-side dancing, watching them do a middle school grinding routine at the dance. So that's what's not hot, all right? No. And that is the first night that they bone. And there's a part in their boning where she's on top, and I don't think she ties him to the bed during this point. Did she? Oh, she does. And then you're kind of like, oh, are we going to do an ice pick? Because I'm ready. It's fine if the movie wants to end now. I'll be okay with it. But then she doesn't. And then he's like, that was the best sex ever. And I was like, Michael Douglas? Any concerns about the non-consensual tying up? No?
This
okay.
This is why I thought, like, oh, does he want to die? Like, because his wife died.
Oh, he thought he was, like, just depressed?
Depressed.
Oh, that's a little sad.
Well, like, all he had was his job, but then he, like, shot all those people, and so, like, he's got nothing. And I thought, oh, is this his way to go? He's like, well, might as well.
Wait, and is he fired by now? Because he does get fired. Why does he get fired? They think he shot the guy?
Leave because the guy that he started a fight with died the next day, and everyone's like, so we think it was you. And he's like, what? It wasn't me. And they're like, well, I feel like 1 + 1 is 2. And
well, but then that was another thing. That was the night he was hooking up with the counselor, and she left. I don't know. Listen, all I'm saying is if Dana Scully and Fox Mulder were here, this shit would have been locked in from scene 2. All right? They would have solved it. Sharon Stone would be in jail. Like, he just was blinded by the pubes. I'm sorry. Like most men are,
I
apparently.
believe it's the Mons Pubis.
The Mons Pubis. He was blinded by it, you guys. It's just really bad. And Roxy's like, wait, you're having sex with my friend who's just a friend, but I like her something. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then she tries to run him over the next day or night or something.
Well, she was like, I did think it was weird she was watching, and he's like,
Roxy, man to man. I think she's the fuck of the century.
And Roxy literally is like, I'm gonna run you over. I was like, well, yeah. Roger Ebert went on this whole kind of tirade about how at this time anybody who was gay was always like pinned as evil. Or like they couldn't just be like gay and that's it.
Right.
And it was kind of funny too, because I was like, wait, why did Roxy have to kill him? And then I thought, oh, I get it. It's another twist. Like maybe the whole time it's Roxy, and Roxy murdered the. But then you're like, how did Roxy get on top of the rock star? It's a lot of. How did that happen? You know, like what does that happen? So it just was confusing.
It was very confusing, and she dies, and then literally Sharon Stone, I'm kid you not, basically says a line where she goes, everyone I love dies, and I was like, hashtag everyone around you is dying, even your dog's dead. That's from Scary Movie 3. Okay, it's everywhere and everything. Thank you. All right, where are we? Oh, and then this is where she starts to bring up the plot about the therapist. We don't know it's the therapist. She says, I went to school with a girl named Lisa Hoberman who was crazy. Why she brings up Lisa Hoberman in that moment, I forget. But he's like, I'm gonna research. And it's just a lot of 90s computers and landlines. And then eventually he makes the connection of, oh my God, Lisa Hoberman is my counselor who I like to bone sometimes. And the counselor's like, she is manipulating you. She's lying. She's twisting the story. You're so dumb. And now you're boning her. And like, you're very, biased and all that stuff. And he's just like, she's innocent. Well, and she's writing a book about me, how I'm going to die. Did you hear? Oh my God.
Well, and they have such a weird relationship because it was like, okay, he was like, he like literally spelled it out. He's like, Beth, we had sex maybe 15 times.
Oh,
give me my key back.
That's a big number.
Well, I was like, wait a second. 15? Are we talking like an average 5 a night? So 3 nights. Are we talking like, is it like one every week? Are we talking
that's
like
15 weeks?
Exactly.
Right.
Are we talking like once a month? Now we're past a year. How do we get the key? So I kind of thought like, no offense, Michael Douglas, but like you met Sharon Stone for a hot minute as basically you're convinced she's the murderer, and this Beth has been your like girl for a bit. Why don't we believe in Beth? I was like, this is the shittiest character. Like nobody likes Beth. Another
thing that I didn't totally get is the one cop who died first. The counselor Beth didn't like because he would like call her a slut and like and at first you're like, that's rude. But then we later find out that Lieutenant Nielsen was like doing background research on her and had gotten the file from college that talked about how she had a restraining order against her. However, it wasn't like this all happened in one like, same time frame. We find out that cop had gotten that file about her over a year ago. So I was like, so why over a year ago were you like, this lady's a killer? Let me look into it, even though nobody was dead. Like, this is where the whiteboard bridge. If I had the whiteboard, I could write more notes and maybe I could do some circles and strings to each other, but I just can't right now without it.
I mean, it started off with Wordle and now it's the New York Times crossword and pen. And I'm lost. I mean, I'm lost. But I'm like, what is gonna happen? Because Sharon Stone's gotta kill Michael Douglas. That's all I kept thinking is Sharon Stone's gotta kill Michael Douglas, right?
I was waiting for the kill, and you know what she does that's a little more brutal, Bridge, is he comes over one time and he sees her book is being printed, and there's like some line he reads where it's like, so-and-so went up the elevator, then he got stabbed with an ice pick, and you're like, okay, we get it, it's a fucking ice pick. And then she comes in and she's like, my book's finished. Get the fuck out. She's like, we're done.
Damn, she cold.
And he's literally like,
she's like, I got my material.
Yeah. And he's a sad boy.
Yo, she's like, I'm besties with murderers to get my material. You think that I'm just gonna be your buddy? I'm done with chapter 12.
She's like, don't come back to the club unless you got a sweater on. I don't want to see your fucking V-neck anymore. The deep V is done. It's in the book. It's done. And he's so sad about it. But then his friend Gus tries to do police work. God help him. And he's like, oh, we have a lady who was roommates with somebody, and we're going to go meet them at a hotel. Don't ask questions. And then he's like, okay.
You're gonna die, Gus.
Well, and then Gus is like, come with me, Nick. And then Nick's like, okay. And then they get to the sketchy hotel. And then Gus goes, Nick, you can't come in. You're not a cop. So then Nick just waits in the car. Gus, what do you mean?
Gus.
Is this official police business? Or is this stupid?
Gus,
and
die, Gus.
He fucking dies. He gets shanked.
Which, by the way, even more of a reason for Michael Douglas to be like, this was literally my only best friend. So everyone's dead around me.
Everyone's dead.
And Michael Douglas is like, I don't have a job. I do think Sharon Stone was literally his way to survive. Like, in this economy, how is he supposed to get a job?
He's not. All his references are dead, you know, like, it's just it's bad. And then he runs up to try to save him. He doesn't fucking save him. And then, Beth is there. And Beth's like, I got a call to come here. And he's like, you're the killer, Beth. And then he just fucking shoots her. Because he's shooter. He's a cowboy. Cowboy shooter. And then she dead. And then he finds...
Which I would be so fucking pissed if I was her. I'd be like, I lost my license because of you.
Yep.
I went above and beyond. You basically raped me. I did all this unethical stuff. And then you shoot me in the end after you end up with some other woman? If I'm Beth, I'm over it.
If I'm Beth, I'm going to be a ghost. And I'm going to
come back and haunt him. Yeah.
I'm going to haunt their bedroom when they're doing their sexy time. And I'm going to, like, fuck up their orgasms. And they're never going to have one again.
Damn.
Ice picker, no. All right? That's right. I'll be petty.
That's a sassy ghost.
I'll do it. Yep. Then they basically, all the other cops come and they're like, oh my God, Beth was the killer the whole time. Look at all this not weird, stuff we found that totally proves it's her. We're not gonna look for DNA evidence and we're not gonna fingerprint these either, so stop asking.
That would be a really funny, scary movie. It's just like a note from Beth, like, it was me, I'm the killer.
It was
not
me.
Sharon. It's me, Beth.
Love Sharon. It's cross-eyed. I mean Beth. Love
Beth.
Beth. Yeah. Yeah. And then
Sharon Stone was fucking busy. She is beeping and bopping everywhere, shooting people. I don't know how the fuck she does it.
Who has
this
the
girl
time?
Clearly had to be on cocaine to get all this done.
That's the question. And then she shows up, and I literally wrote, one more bone for the road, Sharon Stone. And that's exactly what they do. And then, there is a secret ice pick under the bed.
Well, and what's funny is he's like, so what? She's like, so what now? Because basically she told him to hit the road, and then he's like, no, I'm coming back. And then she's like, so what now, Nikki? And he's like, I don't know, babies, marriage, the whole 9 yards. And she's like, this fucking guy, should I murder him? Like, she's like,
she did think about it.
She's like, should I? And it was a little cheesy when she like went to pretend to like ice pick him, but it was really just a hug. And you're like, and then the music was like, da-da!
Da-da! Yeah.
I think it's her. Right?
I also think it's her.
Okay.
And I feel like if you just watch the first scene and the last scene, it's her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she does admit it like 80 times. And she also apparently murdered lots of other people, and those were never solved, question mark. I don't know. Lots of questions, so.
Well, because then there's a Basic Instinct too.
Oh my God, I don't think I have it in me.
It's bad.
Okay, well, I mean, I think this was also one of the movies that kicked off, there was this whole genre of, like, sexy thrillers, it was called. So, like, Fatal Attraction, Wild Things.
Yes.
It's like all these, like, stupid-ass movies where they're like, people be dying, but there's boobs. And you're like, who likes that? And then all the men are like,
Well, the plot doesn't have to make sense because
nope.
Mons Pubis.
Mons Pubis. That's
Mons
correct.
Pubis.
The Mons Pubis brings
Mons
it all
Pubis.
together. In the center of my whiteboard would be the Mons Pubis, and then there's be billions of
I would
strings.
love if, like, the Mons
like-
Pubis, when you moved back, it was all within that shape, you know?
The answers were there all along. They were in the pubes. Oh my God. So real. Well, Bridge, I mean, I hate to ask this because you kind of already did this.
I mean,
but would
I'd
you watch
watch it
it or
again.
don't watch
I'd watch it again, but I think, like, it's really, it's totally porn, so if you're in the mood, have fun, but also, it's also wild that they, like, allowed movies to do this crazy shit. So I think I was just fascinated by the audacity. How about you? Watch it or don't?
Yeah, I'd watch it. I have to give some respect for women who outsmart men. It didn't feel very hard to outsmart
Like
these
serial
men.
killers? Cool.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Maybe not that, but I don't know. There's twists and turns and Mons Pubis. So, all right. Well, Bridge, it is now my pick. Where we're going,
where are you gonna go from here?
it does not, I think, have porn. I don't think so. Bridge, we're going 1 year ahead.
To the
You
best
know what year
of movies?
The best year for movies!
movies!
Yeah, believe it or not, because we've done 8 billion movies from 1993. Well, guess what? There's another fucking one. That's a great movie that we're going to watch. And to preface this, I do need to bring up something a little sad. Listeners, we're recording this weeks before this episode's going to come out, but recently we did have a famous loss. It is an actor that we have done we've done more than one movie of this actor. And in fact, one of our earliest episodes, this actor helped give Bridget her Reddit fan theory that men should have long hair and women should have short hair.
Oh, yes.
Who did we lose recently,
Val
Bridge?
Kilmer?
Respect, right hand. Val Kilmer has passed. And it's sad, and we love him, and he is in this movie, and many people argue, steals the show. He's not the main character, but they all say he steals the show. Bridge, this is a movie our dad definitely likes.
Forced us to watch all the time.
I don't remember watching this all the time, but for some reason,
all the time.
You and I were talking about this when we were at Sundance, and I forget why. It might have been on a TV in a bar we were at, but a successful lawman's plans to retire anonymously in Tombstone, Arizona are disrupted by the kind of outlaws he was famous for eliminating. This is a cowboy-ass movie / Western. We're watching Tombstone.
Holy cow. We got Val Kilmer. We got
Woo!
Kurt Russell. We got Sam Elliott. We got Bill
Kurt
Paxton.
Russell.
We got Billy Bob Thornton. We got Billy Zane.
Oh God, Billy Zane.
cow.
Oh, Michael Bihn's in
Is
this.
Sharon Stone in this? No.
No.
She's in another one that's a cowboy movie that always Dad would make me watch too.
Oh.
Wow, what should we gotta add that to the list? Yo, this is the scene where he takes the cup and he flips the thing. Okay, I can't wait to watch this to see if it holds up.
Val Kilmer plays
cannoli.
Doc Holliday, and Kurt Russell, love to see him, plays Wyatt Earp. And those are cowboy people.
Wow.
So we're doing it. We're going to the West.
I love it. Great
I
pick.
need sunshine. I need
Great pick.
mustaches.
Well,
I need them. Okay.
Okay, well, they're there.
All right, we'll see them. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I want to let you know.
Okay.
If you got the part of the century and they're like, we need
No.
just ask you one little thing of your contract.
No.
You have to show your Mons Pubis.
No.
I would say, guys,
Not the Mons.
This is the time
Oh, God.
for underwear. Okay?
If we just
And we
the
move on.
CGI exists for a
We
reason,
just
you know.
wear sexy underwear and we move on.
And I would then be like,
because
is
I
the
love
Mons Pubis story relevant or is it stupid? Let me know.
Is
Well,
that
Bridge.
stupid? Okay.
Bridge, if you, I don't know. I don't even know where to go with this. I feel like I want to do something where it's like if you were writing a book and then somebody tried to frame you, but then in this scenario, you're Sharon Stone. I do think she's a killer, but I don't think you're a killer. And I guess what I'm going to say is if somebody tried to accuse you of murder, whether it was true or not, I will go with Sharon Stone and I'll write a whole ass novel or something to get you out of it. We'll go find Nick at the club because he's stupid and he'll help us somehow. And I do that for you so that you
that's for me.
Are not in jail.
Aww,
yeah, it is for you. I don't want to hang out with Nick. You. Bridge, this is definitely for you.
I know, even with the deep V, no,
definitely not. I can't do it. Yeah, and listeners, if you also think that Michael Douglas wore a deep V shirt in the club, he did. That's actually non-disputable. But I guess I don't know. You can have your own thoughts about that, like Bridget did. And if you think that pubes, like we all have them. And they're just, it's like nature's confetti down there. I don't know. Do I leave them? Do we leave them? Should we leave them?
Let's leave them.
Sharon Stone left him, and look what happened. She got away with murder, I
mean, trim as needed, like...
As needed.
Think of Edward Scissorhands, like create some style, have some fun.
That's an idea. And if you somehow get tangled up in a murder subplot where everyone around you's dying, and a lady literally confessed to murder, but nobody believes her, just get out a whiteboard and go to the police and just, you gotta handhold them, apparently.
You really do, especially if anyone's named Gus.
Especially. Look out for him. Yes. So if you think all that, you should write us a review.
Woo.
We love reviews. We love written reviews. You can review us on Apple Podcasts, along with some other podcasting apps. And we also have a website, sisterswhoseenit.com. On our website, you can request a movie. So there is a form you can fill out. Your request goes on a list. And we look at the list every now and then. And we will do it eventually. And Bridge, what else can I do on our website?
You can give us money.
Woo!
If you want to give us $113 million like Catherine Trammell, we'll take it.
I'll take that.
Also, there's merchandise.
Woo!
I was thinking how funny it would be to just sell an ice pick on
just
our...
Just a singular ice pick. No questions.
And just call it
See who gets the reference.
Ice pick.
Property of Catherine Trammell.
God,
yeah.
But I don't know if that's true. But anyways, you see what else is on there, okay? We love you.
Yes, so check all that out, listeners. And we hope to hear from you. All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week for Tombstone. And I don't have a quote on my brain. But we'll have it
after we watch the movie.
They probably say...
So it's epic.
Oh, there was a famous line where he goes, "I'm your Huckleberry." And yeah. All right, we'll see that. So
I can't wait, guys. Enjoy this porn that I'm so sorry. I really didn't realize. I thought it was just like her racy underwear scene.
No.
I'm so sorry for those that felt this was a little much. But here we are. Okay?
Here we are.
So now we'll go to Cowboys. We love
Going to Cowboys. We love you. Bye-bye.
I love you.
Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at sisterswhoseenit.com, where you can email us, request movies to be reviewed, and keep up to date with all things sisters. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next week.